We start at the engine shed in 1972 with Sir John, Avonside Engine Company B3 class number 1680 of 1914. Here it shunts the yard at Mountain Ash. Sir John started life in War Department ownership, based at Tidworth Camp in Hampshire. In 1929 it was repaired by the Bristol-based Avonside Engine Company before moving to Mountain Ash. In July 1961 it was sent to Aberaman Railways for 3 months. And it also spent at least 6 months in the Mountain Ash Central Workshops in the second half of 1967. Depending on diesel availability, up to 4 steam locos can be found working here on a daily basis. In fact, the non-availability of the Mountain Ash diesels became almost legendary. The shunter helpfully signals to our cameraman that they are crossing over to the sidings located opposite the engine shed on the other side of the river. The loco has now crossed the River Cunnon and goes about shunting the wagon works yard. As with all the locos we'll see at Mountain Ash, Sir John survives today. It can be found at the Gwillie Railway. On the same day, Hunslet Rebuild 3880 of 1961 was in action near the old Mountain Ash station. This loco had originally been built by Robert Stevenson and Hawthorns in 1944 as number 7139. The third loco of the day, number 1, Hudswell Clark 1885 from 1955, comes off shed to join the action. This loco had arrived at Mountain Ash from Lady Windsor Colliery in a dismantled state in July of the previous year, 1971. It was reassembled but missing a dome cover, so ran without it. Number 1 heads off south for a spot of shunting. Number 3880 again, after a break for lunch. The loco was known as Number 8, and until its 1961 rebuild was based at the War Department's Longmoor Military Railway in Hampshire. It carried the name Wren for part of its WD career. The loco had an extended stay in the Mountain Ash workshops from the summer of 1974 to the beginning of 1978. In early '79 it paid a visit to BR's Cardiff Canton depot for tyre turning. The loco survives now at the Pontypool and Blaenavon Railway. Moving on into 1975 and to the yard at Deep Dyffryn. The railway's other knight is in operation. Sir Gomer, Peckett OX1 class 1859 of 1932, works the yard. Job's done, Sir Gomer returns to Mountain Ash. Where it indulges in another spot of shunting. Sir Gomer spent its entire working life at Mountain Ash. In 1967 it was taken to the workshops for repair. It returned to the colliery line in March 1969 but was dumped out of use. A trip to the Walkden Central Workshops in Lancashire followed in June 1971, where it was finally repaired and returned to Mountain Ash just before Christmas of the same year. the loco continues to shunt around Mountain Ash, with the shed in the background. On the same day, number 1 heads north out of the complex with a train for the Aberaman blending site. Number 1 survives at the Foldhouse Caravan Park at Pilling in Lancashire, named the Pilling Pig. Another shot of the shed shows number 1 and Sagoma between duties. Later in the day, Sagoma shunts the sidings located north of Mountain Ash, about halfway to Aberaman. Note the double track in the foreground. This was the former Vale of Neath BR line, which the NCB took over in 1971 to serve the Aberaman Phonosite plant. Work done for the day, Sagoma returns to Mountain Ash. The loco can now be found on the battlefield line at Shackerstone in Leicestershire. In 1972, the line south was refurbished to a point opposite Penrickaber Colliery. Here, coal was transferred across the river from the colliery via a conveyor before loading. The coal was then taken north to the Phonosite plant. On this occasion in 1977, Llantarnam Abbey, Andrew Barclay 2074 of 1939, shunts at the loading site. This loco first arrived at Mountain Ash from Penrickaber Colliery in September 1957. 2 years later, it moved to Merthyr Vale Colliery. In 1965, it moved on once more to Aberaman Railways, before returning to the Mountain Ash workshops in February 1970. However, it was decided to send it to the Walkden Central Workshops in Lancashire in May 1971, and it returned to work again at Mountain Ash in September of the same year. Llantarnam Abbey heads a train of coal towards Mountain Ash. Strangely, the loco returned from Lancashire with its name spelt wrongly, Llantarnam Abbey, without the R. The Barclay appears again on the southern section of the line, with another load on its 4-mile trip to Aberaman. After passing under the bridge, the loco then approaches the land sale yard. The same working passes the Mountain Ash loco shed. Clantarnam Abbey can be found today at the Swansea Vale Railway. Mountain Ash finally closed in May 1981, having retained steam operation into 1980. The workshop stayed open until 1985. So that's industrial steam in Wales in the 1970s.